Welcome to the Vernon Hills Update. The update offers information about a variety of village services. You'll meet a few of your neighbors, and you'll find out about upcoming events. On today's show, we'll check in with our green living expert at Swalco for updates on how recycling has gotten even easier. We'll get an early spring safety reminder from our friend Fireman Tony Rodkey of the Countryside Fire Protection District. We'll find out what's going on with the local Kirk Players Theater Group, including several historical dramas being performed in conjunction with Loyola University's Cuneo Mansion educational programs. And we'll take a quick look through one of Vernon Hills' newest retailers, Hobby Lobby, located off of Route 60. If you have comments or suggestions, please contact Mike Stordo at 847-918-3560 or email Mike S at vhills.org. Thank you for tuning into the Vernon Hills Update.
We are here with our green living expert from Swalco. We're with Merlan Rampal to give us some tips on recycling and some good news that it's going to be even easier for us to recycle now. Thanks for joining us again, Merlan. It's been a while.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's great to be back again.
And now before we start telling people about some of the good news about how recycling is getting easier, let's remind people what Swalco is, S-W-A-L-C-O, what that is.
Sure. Swalco stands for the Solid Waste Agency of Lake County, Illinois, and we are an intergovernmental agency. We're made up of the municipalities, the cities and villages here in Lake County. About 97% of the communities here are members of our agency, including Vernon Hills, of course, one of our wonderful members communities. And really the ultimate mission and goal of the agency is to, we go back really to those 4 R's, reduce, reuse, recycle, and biorecycle, really to keep items out of the landfills, to encourage waste reduction and recycling whenever possible. Mm-hmm. Try to create and develop new ways and new educational opportunities for people in order to do that. And really branching out even further than that, really looking and offering information for people to live more sustainable and green lives.
Once again, you're our green living expert. So let's talk about, you said you just gave us the philosophy in a nutshell, and I know you've got some big news. You guys at Swalco have been pushing recycle first, trash last, and there's been some information that's come out on that you're really encouraging people to be more mindful.
Yes, absolutely. It's really, really exciting, I think, for our community. And I believe we just recently launched this campaign, the Recycle First, Trash Last. And I believe Vernon Hills had information out, I think maybe at their Oktoberfest and a couple of other events. And they've had information up on the website and in e-blasts and newsletters and things like this. But it's really, I think the name is great, the Recycle First, Trash Last, and really what we're trying to do is have people look at recycling in a new way. Before, I think people probably went out to put the trash out and maybe they'd pick a couple of things out of the trash that they could put in the recycle bin. And now, with some of the new things we're going to be talking about today, we're able to recycle more and more products than ever before. It's easier than ever before. So really the idea is that you're putting almost everything in your recycling bin, and trash is just maybe a couple pieces that are left over, or possibly an empty bin is the
I saw on your website it says there's like 75% of the things that we do throw away should or could be recycled. So even in our own homes, we can do better. But you said there's things that make it easier. We don't have to look for the numbers anymore, because I have to wear glasses to look at the numbers on the bottom of plastic. I don't have to do that now?
That's the great news, that there are now so many new items. Just in this last few months, we have the new guidelines listed on our website. And it's really broken down into 4 simple categories: metal, plastic, paper, and glass. Mm-hmm. And I think you can see in this picture here, we've tried with some of the imaging we created just to show some of the new things. So plastic laundry baskets, sometimes after you've used them for a few years, they crack, they're broken. couldn't go in the bin before. Now they can go in our curbside bins. Children's toys, so plastic toys. The large big wheel trucks and tricycles, if they're plastic, they can go in now. And once upon a time, we used to look, as you know, Lynn, to try to find that little tiny triangle and the numbers, and we're moving away from that. If it's hard, rigid plastic, it can go in your bin. The yogurt cups, the butter tubs, the children's toys, laundry baskets, plastic hangers, all can go in our curbside bins now. And virtually the only plastics at this point in time, we still are not able to put styrofoam in our curbside bin, or a handful of items like garden hoses and things like this. But virtually all hard, rigid plastics can now go in there. And it's a great, because it's a large percentage of the things we can generate in our homes.
You don't have to look for the hope and the peat and all that kind of stuff on the bottom. And do I have to have everything clean as a whistle when it's going in there?
It doesn't have to be clean as a whistle. I mean, we always say free of excess liquids and food. But again, within reason, we don't want to contaminate the products. But
just get it done. If we just start getting it done. Now, that's great on the plastic. And anything like paper, any changes on paper, or just about anything with paper? I know we talked about window envelopes.
Yes, with paper, it's a large portion of the materials that just don't get recycled. And whether we generate it at our workplaces or at home, 97 to 98% of all paper can be recycled and can go in our bins, whether it's at work or at home, including window envelopes. And really a good rule of thumb is if you can tear it, it's recyclable. So
and we don't have to we don't have to worry. Like I know in the schools years ago, you'd look and you had to take the colored paper out from the white paper because that's how they recycle. But just can all go in.
It can all go in. Phone books, phone books, magazines, newspapers, all your junk mail at home can be recycled. Yep.
Nice. Let's see. Glass.
Glass, and many moons ago, only certain colors of glass could be recycled. For the last few years, we've been able to recycle any color of glass. So again, free of excess liquid or food, but any colored
not light
glass.
Bulbs, though.
No light bulbs. We do, SWALCO does offer other programs for fluorescent light bulbs to recycle those.
So if you've got a bunch of light bulbs, especially fluorescents, if you're in an office or something like that, get a hold of Merlan. She'll tell you how to get rid of those. And that last big area that I don't think we talked about was metal. Any trick there?
Metals, our soup cans and other metal containers. Aluminum foil if it's clean, aluminum pans.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So really, when you start thinking about all the things there are to do, there's a lot that we can take care of right away in our recycling bins. The things that we can't, like you mentioned, the fluorescent bulbs or some of these other things, you have alternative recycling that we can contact you and learn more.
We do. We actually have a recycle and redirect guide on our website, and it lists alphabetically a number of different items. A lot of the things that maybe can't go, the harder to recycle items, are things that people have questions about, or items that can't go curbside, and we have a whole listing. So document shredding, information, bicycles, what to do with bicycles, medical waste, a number of different items. So you can visit our Recycle and Redirect guide and get a lot of great information there.
And when we talk about the website, there are a couple of websites. You got the regular SWALCO, you got the new Recycle First, Trash Last website, and all of them have a lot of information, whether you're a kid, a family, a teacher, a business. There's a wealth of information on there.
Absolutely, and obviously the SWALCO website has been around as long as we have, pretty much. And we have the Recycle and Redirect guide. We have a lot of information. You can print the recycle guidelines in English or in Spanish.
And that's nice to hang out in your garage or wherever you have your garbage and recycling, because sometimes I have to refer to that.
Absolutely, hang it in your garage, hang a copy, print up a copy, and hang it on your fridge. Put it up with a magnet. And then we have, as I said, we just launched this campaign recently, and we have a new landing page website called recyclefirsttrashlast.org, and you can go there, and there's a toolkit online too. And so there's some great resources for educators, communities, organizations that may want to take on some projects and do their own little projects to encourage and increase recycling. There's for educators and families, there's a wonderful coloring and activity page online in the toolkit that you can print up for kids that talks about recycling in every room in the house. You know, sometimes we think about, you know, the obvious place is the kitchen where we generate a lot of recycling, but you know, don't forget the garage. We generate recycling materials in the garage, the bathroom, the bedrooms, all over the house. So.
Well, when we speak of that too, well, let's remind you, go online to learn more, get a hold of Merlan. She'll help you out as well. But with that, we'll say thank you, and you have a video we can show people to give you an idea of going through the house and seeing some of those things, a little visual.
Yeah. Yeah, this will be available on SWALCO's website if people want to link to it or share it with friends. I think it may be available on the Vernon Hills website soon as well. So we hope it'll just answer some of those questions that people have. It's kind of a little companion piece for the recycling guidelines, about 3.5 minutes long. So if you've got a couple of minutes, I hope you'll learn some real interesting things after you watch the video.
And all of us, we can just take a little bit more time to be mindful, know a lot more can go in. It's gotten easier for us. We should just go for it and get this done.
I really feel like recycling is one of the things that all of us, when people, you know, want to make a difference in their community that reaches beyond that to our whole planet, I feel like recycling is really one of the things any of us can do, no matter what age, what our circumstances. Most of us have the access to be able to recycle. And, you know, one of the things that probably most people think about when they think about recycling, which is a very important aspect, is that we're keeping items out of the landfills. But beyond that, that's a wonderful thing in itself, and that we're also saving these natural resources and being able to use these products and turn them into new products. But beyond that, some people may not know how far, or think about how far beyond that recycling really reaches. And when you're recycling paper, you may be saving trees and habitat and forests, which may be home to a number of different species of plants and wildlife. Maybe those plants hold the next cure to cancer. Maybe the wildlife is, you know, an endangered species that we're protecting. When you're recycling clothing and a number of different items, you're saving energy conservation, you're saving energy, you're saving water. So we're looking at energy and water conservation. When you recycle a cell phone or a computer, when you come to one of SWALCO's electronics programs and you recycle your electronics. And I know the Village of Vernon Hills has a wonderful program that they've started with SWALCO that we co-sponsor with the village. And when you do that, there's actually a metal that's mined in gorilla habitat. So when you're recycling your cell phone and your computer, you may be helping to save some of those, as I said, endangered species that are out there.
So we're not just cleaning up our own houses,
Right.
We're taking care of everybody's habitat.
Right.
So.
It really, it's one of those things, recycling reaches into energy, water, land habitat, animal conservation. So it's really a great thing. It's a wonderful goal. We've got this goal to reach 60% by 2020, and that sprang from a task force of residents and municipalities all around the county. And this was kind of one of the big projects to kind of spur that whole effort off, and looking forward to seeing that.
We can hit that. Viewers out there, we can hit it, especially the young people. They're very good at recycling. And they're very good at walking around the house and checking on things. So thank you for taking the time. Make sure you go online and watch and see what's going on and see what you can do more. And if anybody needs to get a hold of you, they can go on the website or give you an email. So thank you for taking the time.
Thanks so much for having me.
More and more, people are looking for ways to live a more sustainable life. One way to improve the environment and help your community is by increasing the amount of materials you recycle at home, work, and play. The good news is that here in Lake County, we can recycle more items than ever before. It's easy to do, and there are so many things you'd never dreamed could be recycled that can be. Think about recycling in every room in your home. You'll find items from all 4 of the major recycling categories in just about every space: paper, plastic, metal, and glass. Recycling's not just for the kitchen anymore, but we do generate many items that can be recycled there. Items like glass sauce jars, soda or wine bottles, pasta boxes, tin cans, aluminum cans and foil, microwavable meal trays, milk and juice, cartons, plastic water bottles with the lids left on, empty vegetable spray containers, yogurt cups, and so much more can all be recycled. You know those paper cartons that products like rice milk, soups, and chicken broth come in? All recyclable. Forget about the numbers like you were once told. All hard, rigid plastic containers, with or without a symbol, can now go in your curbside cart. Just about the only plastics we can't recycle here curbside are the foam plastics and bags, film, and wrap. Plastic bags and wrap can be bundled and taken to local retailers or grocery stores that offer bag and film recycling. The bathroom has many materials that are recyclable. Empty plastic shampoo, conditioner, and hand soap bottles, plastic deodorant containers, that little cardboard bathroom tissue roll are all recyclable. You can find a lot of recyclables in the bathroom. That faded, broken laundry basket that's hanging out in the corner, yep, recyclable. Think about recyclables you might find in the bedroom. When you tell the kids to clean their room, they can recycle their broken toys, big or small, including the larger toys like big wheels and tricycles, and large unmotorized cars and trucks, along with scrap paper, coloring books, and most of the plastic games and toys you'll find around the house. Empty glass or plastic personal care product containers like lotion jars, also recyclable. What about your office or den? That paper coffee cup you left on the desk, free of excess liquid of course, can be recycled along with your junk mail, old phone books, magazines, and the Sunday paper, including the inserts. Virtually 98% of the paper we find in our homes and workplaces is recyclable, including those envelopes with the little plastic window. A good rule of thumb is, if you can tear it, you can recycle it. Don't forget the garage. Plastic and glass cleaning product bottles or containers, including spray bottles, kitty litter containers, large and small household cleaning pails or tubs can all be recycled. So, when you go to throw, think recycle first, trash last. And be sure to recycle in every room in the house. Encourage everyone in your life, neighbors, family, and friends, to lend a hand and love their recycling cart more than their trash can. Oh, the kids and dog? Not recyclable. For more information on recycling and what you can recycle here in Lake County, please visit recyclefirsttrashlast.org. Look for the recycling guidelines and keep a copy handy. You can also visit swalco.org to find out more about recycling opportunities and programs in our community, as well as other helpful information and resources.
Hello, I'm Tony Rodke with the Countryside Fire Protection District, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about some fire safety electrical issues. First of all, I'd like to talk a little bit about surge protectors. In the past, we've had some surge protectors that were actually overloaded. And if you take a look at this one here, it shows how some melting occurred due to excessive overloaded electrical appliances plugged in, okay? Some of these surge protectors only take up to 15 amps. You'll have to check the back of your surge protector and make sure that you do not overload your surge protectors, as they can cause a fire as well. Secondly, I'd like to talk about extension cords. In the past, we've had some extension cords that were piggybacked or daisy-chained, 2 or more extension cords connected, and this is what's happened. If you're going to use an extension cord, only use one extension cord from the power source to the appliance. Make sure that the extension cord is completely plugged into the outlet and the appliance. Here you can see there's a small gap which causes some heat, arcing or sparking, and in this case, a fire. Thirdly, I'd like to talk a little bit about the dryer vents. A lot of us have a natural gas line coming into our house. We have dryers that run off natural gas, have a pilot light, and there's a motor in the dryer that helps run it and warm the clothes. We've had some fires in the past where the lint builds up within these exhaust vents, these 4-inch exhaust vents, and then causes the dryer to overheat. The lint here in the motor that you might be able to visualize, okay, is very light and can catch on fire. So it's very important to make sure you're changing and checking your lint traps regularly, keeping the underneath of the dryer clear of clothing that might fall underneath there, socks and t-shirts and so forth. Anything that is combustible, wood, paper, plastic items. Keeping the behind the dryer clear of lint and dust as well is very important to prevent fires. In the bathroom, we have a lot of exhaust fans. And here, if we don't maintain the exhaust fan as well, you can take off the vent cover and then change or clean the fans up and remove all the dust. The motors can overheat if there's too much dust, and that can cause a fire, as you can see here as well. Here at Countryside Fire, we just want to remind you to practice fire safety every day. If you need additional information, you can go to our website, countrysidefire.com, or call us here at the fire station, 847-367-5511. And we just want to wish you a safe spring season. Thank you.
We've come over to the Loyola University's Cuneo Mansion to find out what's going on over here this winter season, and of course there's a lot. And one of the things they've got going on is some dramatic educational events. And we're here with people from the Kirk Players Theater to find out about that. We're with Sheila Burke, who's the president of Kirk Players, and Patty Lynn, who you all know around the community for her storytelling and everything else. So thanks for joining us, ladies.
Thank you.
Let's start out with, now this series is called Influential Women of History, and it's going on some Sundays. And I know by the time you watch this, one of the shows is going to be passed. I hope you saw it on the Cuneo website, but can you tell us what you've got in store for people?
Sure. Upcoming, well, the one that's passed was Harriet Beecher Stowe. And Harriet, of course, wrote the book Uncle Tom's Cabin. Just a remarkable woman who just decided to follow her passion and her dream, which was to write a book that would change the way people looked at slavery. And I was inspired by her everything about her, actually, her whole being. And so I wrote the story, and I was very grateful to be able to perform it, you know, at Cuneo.
Well, and so that was in late February. So as you're watching this in March, watch ahead, because I think we're going to have more of these coming up. Then on March 24th, which is another Sunday, 2 p.m., you're going to have Letters from the Oregon Trail. Tell us about that.
Okay, thanks. Letters is a program that I wrote probably about 10 years ago, and it comes from letters, diaries and journals of women that actually traveled the trail back in the 1850s.
So it's based on real material.
Yeah, real life stories that I sort of weave together into one woman's story. And what happens is, through a series of letters that she writes back to her mother, I tell the story of all the trials and tribulations and adventures that they have along the way. And and it's also part of the program is meant for the children too. So this is a program that is adaptable to grades like 3 all the way through adults. And I have a wonderful partner by the name of Bobby LaBelle, who also does that program with me. So she'll be here with me in March.
Okay, and so when we talk about that, so these are things that the kids are learning about in school, and you're sort of bringing them to life with real words from real people who were out on the trail.
That's right. Real words, real people, real adventures, and some real harrowing experiences.
You know, we're so lucky now how easy things are. And then then on April 21st, this is a favorite of a lot of people, Meet Emily Dickinson.
Yes, that's a program that a playwright by the name of William Luce wrote, The Belle of Amherst, and I'm doing an excerpt, about a 75-minute excerpt of that piece. And I did perform it here at the Cuneo back in, I believe, 2005 and 2006. So I am absolutely thrilled and delighted to bring it back again. The program is written from as a one-woman show. Emily shares all of her major life experiences, and the poetry is weaved in between the stories. So it's lovely.
It's interesting, so that again, that's like if you've got a high school student who's been studying poetry or history, or if you're history buff or anything like that, this is the place to be.
I think the marvelous thing about all of these programs is that you get to see the real people behind what you've maybe seen in books. And you get to know them as people, a little bit about their personality, and in ways that you don't get an opportunity if you're just reading the book. So that's what I find delightful about them.
Well, and the other thing, too, is I've heard people who are theater people, there's something about live theater. It's different than going to a movie or something like that, because you're actually interacting with a living, breathing being.
And anything can happen. I mean, when it's live theater, you have to be prepared. So it'll just happen, and you better be ready for it when it does.
Well, and let's talk about this. You've got a long history in our community. If you've got young children, you've obviously seen her in the schools and every place else. Let's talk about your history, and then we'll talk about the Kirk players.
Well, about probably 13 years ago, I decided that this was what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a storyteller. And I had been working with a children's theater group for many years prior to that, and I've developed a sense of what you needed to do to market yourself and to bring these things into the schools. So when I decided that I wanted to become a storyteller, I felt like I had to pay my dues, and I needed to just go out and watch a lot of other storytellers, see what they did, but also decide what it was that was inside of me that I could bring out, that maybe was also inside of some of those children who hopefully I might inspire along the way. And I have to say, I feel incredibly blessed over the past 13 years of being able to do these kinds of programs, and a lot of them came in the Vernon Hills area, started in the Vernon Hills area, because I was also teaching. I was a substitute teacher for years in this district, and then I was also in the ESL program that they ran at one of the schools. So I began my career that way, and since then it's taken off. I've had programs in not only in Illinois, but I've worked in Wisconsin and Indiana and even in Arkansas. So yeah, so I've been very.
There you go. So if you're a student who likes theater and is thinking about theater, look at all the different things you can do with that passion. There's a lot of things to do, and let's talk about that passion, because the Kirk players has been passionate about the community. Community is the key. I mean, theater is one thing, but community.
It's absolutely the key. The Kirk Players was founded 47 years ago on a very simple idea. And the idea was that you could do theater and raise some money and give that money back, reinvest it back into your community. So we have a mission of community service through the arts. So what is most unique about our organization is that we make a sincere effort to take those funds and put them back into our community. So we provide a performing arts scholarship to a high school student in Mundelein. We provide grants to both the high school theater departments. We're giving grants to all of the elementary school districts in our village. The other thing we've started just this year is Mundelein has a fine arts festival, and it's in its third year, I think. Yep. And we are now sponsoring an emerging artist prize to encourage a young and up-and-coming artist to get involved in the arts. So we are trying to find ways to support the art in our community. One of our greatest new initiatives that I'm really excited about is we're doing a reading rewards program with our ELL and ESL classes in the community. Our children's production this year is Tom Sawyer, which I think everyone's familiar with. Well, many of the classes are reading the book, and our printer donated some bookmarks to us, and these bookmarks will admit entire families to see this performance for absolutely no charge. So we really, really encourage people to get involved. The other thing is we do workshops in the summer for both children and adults, and those are also at no charge. We are a totally open organization. We love to have anyone with any experience or no experience whatsoever, come on out and play with us. And the joy that you get in participating. Our founder and director, John W. Lynn, calls it the greatest team sport in the world, and I absolutely believe that. The other thing I'd like to share with the audience that's really pretty exciting is our founder director, just found out this week, was awarded the National American Association of Community Theaters Superior Volunteer Award, which is quite an honor for him and for our organization.
For the whole nation. He was singled out for the whole nation.
For the whole nation.
So that's John Lynn.
John Lynn.
Yes.
Our founder director. So we're very excited about
That
that.
reflects very nicely on all of you, so bask in that glow there.
We're gonna bask on that for quite a long time, and we're hoping to get him to the National Award Ceremony this June. So that's pretty exciting news.
Well, and I heard a couple things here. You started out as an ESL, which is English as a Second Language or English language learner, which we have so many people in our community who are working on language. And then you're coming full circle with that to have this program, particularly for those children, but for everyone to be able to come and watch live theater and see the book they've been reading acted out. That's an awesome opportunity.
I think it's going to be fantastic. The other thing we're planning on doing is working with the instructors, and then after the performances, actually having Q&As with the actors, and particularly for our youngsters, getting them up and doing backstage tours. Every kid likes to peek behind.
Everybody does.
Yeah, they want to see what was behind that thing. What's behind that set? How did you do that? And let them see things like the light board and the sound board, because theater is not just about getting up in front of people. Theater is about, there's a lot of technical opportunities, props, lights, sound, costumes. It takes an incredible manager to produce and stage manage a show and coordinate all of this. So there's opportunities for participation with all sorts of different skill sets that you can be very creative, not only on stage, but behind stage. So we want to encourage people to understand that. And again, whether it's taking tickets at a door or getting up and doing a leading role on the stage, all of this gives back to our community at the end of the year, and that's what we're most proud of.
Well, and I was going to say, you are awesome at encouraging people to try, whether it's a child who's never done anything, come to an open audition. You don't charge to come to an audition. You do not charge to be in a production, as some groups do. You have to pay to play to be in these things. You guys, it's just part of what you do for the community.
And we feel very blessed to be able to do that. I know a lot of new groups that are just starting out, they wouldn't have that, that possibility, I guess, to be able to handle it that way. But the way that the whole group was formed 47 years ago has really been the foundation and has kept to be the foundation. So, yeah, and we're very lucky.
And you have to work on faith a little when you're doing it that way, because I know you said at the end of the year, the goal is to make sure all the money is given out, and then you start fresh every year.
Exactly. And so, we go on faith, and we have great faith in our community to support what we feel is a good cause. And so far, they haven't disappointed us. So they seem to be there. As we've changed, they've changed. The focus on the arts the last couple of years has been a bit of a change for us. We used to donate to shelters and food pantries, all of which are excellent causes. But recognizing that the arts, unfortunately, in our communities, when budget cuts come, unfortunately, the arts are usually at the head of that particular list. So we've been reaching out into, in particular, our elementary school districts. One of the grants we gave to a district went to support their band program this year, for example. So what's exciting about what we're doing now is it's music, it's art, it's visual art, it's not just performing art, which I think is just absolutely great. Because I believe that any student that gets involved in the arts gets an experience that they'll never forget. Whether they ever go on and do anything about it, I firmly believe that they're going to be the future supporter of the arts. So whether they're on that stage or backstage, hopefully they'll have their butt in a seat someday, buying a ticket for a group, whether that's dance or live theater. I think that's the key, that we need to encourage that support of the arts in our young people. So
We'll encourage our young people, we'll encourage our older people, because you've got a place for them too, because you're volunteer-driven. You've got jobs for everyone. If you've ever wondered if you could do this, this is the place to go, because they're very forgiving, they're very kind, they've got a place for you.
And the loveliest group you'll ever meet. I mean, we're, right, Sheila?
Oh, absolutely.
They're just amazing people that are in this group, and we feel very lucky to have them too, so.
Wonderful. So that's the Kirk Players. They've been around for 47 years, and it's not by accident. It's with your support, so thank you. And now, as we finish up today, we want to remind you too, Cuneo, in doing the Influential Women Series, they're doing a lot of things out here that's more for outreach and education to the public. So look online on the Cuneo website. Loyola has a number of lectures coming up, whether it's on the Civil War, on Great Lakes Naval Station, art and architecture, because the mansion out here in the grounds, I mean, really, this is a treasure trove of history, and we don't always recognize it because it's almost unbelievable what's gone on here and how historically important this place is. Also, Mother's Day brunch, people, that they're going to have that again. And then they've got something coming up March, April, May, June, free Wednesdays that you can come and tour this beautiful place at no charge between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. So keep that in mind. Cuneo's got a lot going on. Loyola's doing a lot over here. The Kirk Players are busy. Do find out what's going on in the community, because there's a lot going on. Get involved. Be a part of it. Give your support. And thank you so much, Patty, Lynn, and Sheila, for taking the time. Good luck with your program, Break a Leg.
Thank you.
And good luck with your new season and Tom Sawyer. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, we've come over to visit the folks at the Hobby Lobby, which is a new entrant to Vernon Hills. They've moved over from Mundelein. We're here with John Broccolo, who's the manager. Thanks for taking the time to be with us today, and it looks like a beautiful, shiny new store. How's it going so far?
It's going real good. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. Now, you moved over here at the beginning of February. Was that when you opened up?
February 4th. We opened up February 4th.
Okay. Now, it was kind of a long process we've been watching the remodeling and the storefront coming up. How long have you been working on all this?
Well, construction started back in October, actually, and went through October and November, and then the actual process to move it over here lasted about a month. Yeah. And we started right after Christmas and finished, right at the end of January.
Yeah, that is a lot of merchandise you've got in here to get stocked. Now, like, how many employees do you have over here?
Well, we have right around 25 people that we have hired here. And then it took about, I guess I would probably around 100 to get for the whole process to be completed, from moving from Mundelein to Vernon Hills.
Okay, so Mundelein's closed now. This is the place to come for Hobby Lobby. Now, it looks like you've got people who are familiar with Hobby Lobby, know some of the merchandise, but can you outline some of the things for those who've not been in here, the kind of things you can find in here?
Well, Hobby Lobby, we basically, focus on crafts, arts, crafts, fabrics, fabric needs, basic, knitting, floral type, full line of floral, silk florals, and home accents, decor, things for your walls, tables, all that kind of stuff. And then we have a custom framing department, which we're real proud of.
So you've got the custom frames over here as well?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, excellent. So if you've got something that needs framing, or if you've got a piece of art that you can, they've got the stuff here, you can make the art and then frame the art. So now let's talk corporate, because this is a family-owned corporation. How many stores do you have around?
Yes, it is a family-owned corporation. We're based out of Oklahoma City. There's 520 stores, throughout the country. Somewhere, I think, around 40 states. And then locally, we have probably around 20 stores in the Chicagoland area.
Excellent. So we're one of the 20. You opened up in February. We hope you have a nice, long time here with us, and we'll take a look through the store, make sure you stop by and see them. Do you have a website we can go to?
Yep, hobbylobby.com, yep.
Excellent. So take a look. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.
Well, that wraps up this edition of the Vernon Hills Update. Remember, if you have comments or suggestions, please contact Mike Stordo at 847-918-3560 or email Mike S. at thehills.org. Thank you for tuning into the Vernon Hills Update.
Hello, I'm Tony Rodke with the Countryside Fire Protection District, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about some fire safety electrical issues. First of all, I'd like to talk a little bit about surge protectors. In the past, we've had some surge protectors that were actually overloaded. And if you take a look at this one here, it shows how some melting occurred due to excessive overloaded electrical appliances plugged in, okay? Some of these surge protectors only take up to 15 amps. You'll have to check the back of your surge protector and make sure that you do not overload your surge protectors, as they can cause a fire as well. Secondly, I'd like to talk about extension cords. In the past, we've had some extension cords that were piggybacked or daisy-chained, 2 or more extension cords connected, and this is what's happened. If you're going to use an extension cord, only use one extension cord from the power source to the appliance. Make sure that the extension cord is completely plugged into the outlet and the appliance. Here you can see there's a small gap, which causes some heat, arcing or sparking, and in this case, a fire. Thirdly, I'd like to talk a little bit about the dryer vents. A lot of us have a natural gas line coming into our house. We have dryers that run off natural gas, have a pilot light, and there's a motor in the dryer that helps run it and warm the clothes. We've had some fires in the past where the lint builds up within these exhaust vents, these 4-inch exhaust vents, and then causes the dryer to overheat. The lint here in the motor that you might be able to visualize, okay, is very light and can catch on fire. So it's very important to make sure you're changing and checking your lint traps regularly, keeping the underneath of the dryer clear of clothing that might fall underneath there, socks and t-shirts and so forth, anything that is combustible, wood, paper, plastic items. Keeping the behind the dryer clear of lint and dust as well is very important to prevent fires. In the bathroom, we have a lot of exhaust fans. And here, if we don't maintain the exhaust fan as well, you can take off the vent cover and then change or clean the fans up and remove all the dust. The motors can overheat if there's too much dust, and that can cause a fire, as you can see here as well. Here at Countryside Fire, we just want to remind you to practice fire safety every day. If you need additional information, you can go to our website, countrysidefire.com. or call us here at the fire station, 847-367-5511. And we just want to wish you a safe spring season. Thank you.